guys, Secret Agent checking into the channel. Today I'm doing a character tier list. Let's get into it. So for the people in the lower tiers, if you are good at playing them and you have lots of experience, do not stop playing them. This is purely my opinion. So we're starting off with C tier. The first legend in C tier is Rampart. Rampart's walls have recently gotten a buff, so they spawn with 45 health instead of the one they spawned with last season and Season 6. At the start of Season 8, Rampart's turret Sheila had its angle increased which it can shoot from. It was 125 degrees, now it's 180 degrees. Sheila can also be very good, but only in certain circumstances, so don't just put it down anywhere, anytime. Next up in C tier we have Mirage. Mirage's decoys now do make footsteps, but they can still be easily picked out from the actual person by an average player. His ultimate also makes his arms glow until all the decoys appear, making him easy to track. Sometimes Mirage's ultimate can be very confusing for the opposing team, especially if you jump on them without them knowing you are even there. This can make your opponents panic and start to be confused, so you can get easy shots on them while they're running to safety. Also, your teammates, if they have a sniper, they can get easy shots on them and deal a lot of damage. Now let's move on to B tier. Firstly in B tier we have Bangalore. Bangalore is very balanced as a legend. She doesn't have any overpowered abilities or any underpowered abilities in my opinion. That is why she is in B tier. Bangalore's smoke can be used offensively and defensively, but be careful because the smoke can sometimes make things harder for your team than the opponent's, especially if they have something like a digital threat or someone's in a Bloodhound ult. In my opinion, Bangalore's ultimate is better to use as a zoning tool than it is as an ultimate to do damage. This is because if you're running away and you put your ult down, if a team tries to push through it, they will get stunned, making them easy to pick off for other teams. It can also be used to push teams into other teams or push teams away from you in general. Next up in B tier we have Loba. Loba's bracelet is very slow to throw, fly in the air and put back on. However, her ultimate does start on 50%, meaning her team gets loot and ammo earlier than other teams. But Loba just isn't that good in my opinion. She needs a buff to her tactical, not more buffs to her ultimate. Loba's tactical should also not be used when trying to run away from a team unless you have cover. She cannot sprint when her bracelet is in the air, making you an easy target to hit, so just jumping and sliding will be a lot better at evading teams. Next in B tier we have Pathfinder. Pathfinder's grapple is more balanced than it has been in the past. At the earliest seasons, Pathfinder's grapple was very overpowered, but in the latest seasons, until Season 7, Pathfinder's grapple was nerfed, so it had a 35-second cooldown. That is too much. His zipline gives good mobility for the team, but it is at the expense of cover. Pathfinder does need a new passive now that Bloodhound and Crypto can also scan survey beacons. That was one of the best passives in the game before Bloodhound and Crypto could do that. Getting his ultimate straight away just isn't good enough. Last but not least in B tier is Fuse. Fuse's passive Grenadier can be very good for nade spam, however he can't throw a grenade vertically. If you didn't know, if you throw a frag grenade straight up, it explodes on impact. This is very useful to draw out enemies from doors and have easy kills, especially in high level ranked. His knuckle cluster is very good, but the motherload is nowhere near as good as many people have expected. So starting off the A tier we have Octane. His recent buff to the jump pad makes him one of the better legends, which is quite surprising because last season and the seasons before he would have been in the lower tiers. Octane's passive being buffed in Season 7 also helps him quite a lot. It used to be he healed 0.5 health a second, now it's 1 health a second. This may not sound like much, but it's a big difference. Octane's stim hasn't changed in a while, but it doesn't need to. It's not overpowered, but it's not bad. So next up in A tier we have Crypto. So Crypto has always been a pretty good legend, but to get his best performance you will need good team coordination. His drone now being able to scan survey beacons instantly makes a great way to quickly find the next ring locations and hold down a building or area. He's especially good if you're playing with an experienced team in the higher ranks. Crypto may be for you. Even doing something as simple as keeping your drone above where you're fighting can provide vital information to your team on whether a third party's coming or whether you're safe to get more loot and heal up. So next up in A tier we have Lifeline. Lifeline is mainly in A tier just because of her passive, but her healing drone is also pretty good. The only downside is it can't move with you, so you have to stay in the same location while you're healing with it. Lifeline's rezzing is super good and can turn the tides in a fight, but her care package is just underwhelming. It's not good enough for an ultimate. She needs to get better loot in it at least. If you're rezzing someone as Lifeline and you have a powerful shotgun like an Eva 8 or a Mastiff, it can really turn the tides in a fight even if it's a 2v3. Her rezzing provides a shield, and if you just dip in and out of it with a Mastiff or an Eva 8 hitting for 100 or 60 or 40 even, it can make it a lot easier for your other teammate who's still alive. Second last in A tier we have Revenant. Revenant's passive is not great at the moment, but it's still useful sometimes, especially when you use the fast crouch walk to sneak up behind teams without them seeing you or hearing you. His death totem is very strong, but needs really good team coordination to be at its best it can possibly be. The silences are also really good, but only if you hit people with them. They can even be used to cut off entrances and exits to places if you really don't want your opponents getting through there. This can be useful for high tier ranked if people are camping in a building and they have one exit to get to ring. If you put your silence there, they can either choose to die to ring or get easily hit by your silence, making their screen glow a bit so it's harder for them to see, and so you get easier shots and they can't use their abilities. So last up in A tier we have Wattson. Wattson's fensive is so good. If you use them to cut off places to make your opponents try and find a different way. Her fences are also great if you put them on a wraith portal, friendly or enemies. So if you are being chased, you'll know where they are, slow them down and have easy shots. Her fences can also be used, how I said Revenant's silence could be used, to block off entrances or exits to places. Wattson is also very good in high tier ranked, and these are just some of the reasons why. Wattson's ultimate is also really good, although unfortunately it only lasts 90 seconds now. Late game Wattson is even better. Putting her ultimate down stops all grenades and the ultimates of Gibraltar, Caustic and Bangalore. These three ultimates can cause havoc if you don't have a Wattson in the last ring if it's outside. Now we're moving on to A+ tier. A+ tier is just for those legends that don't quite make it into S tier, but they're very close and still very viable, especially for ranked. Starting off A+ tier we have Wraith. This might come as a shock to some people as all of her abilities are really useful, but since she's been nerfed so much and now her hitbox is bigger, she dies quite a bit easier now. Wraith's portal is still super good even though it's been nerfed quite a bit. It can be game changing, especially late game if your Wraith can portal to good positioning. Also, her portals can be used to get knocked teammates away from combat zones so you can revive them, or to get teammates banners safely so you can run away after you've put the portal. The next legend we have in A+ tier is Caustic. Caustic is really good for late game and higher tier ranked games. Caustic has the highest win percentage of any legend for games that take longer than 20 minutes. This is mainly because his ultimate in the final ring is deadly. Enemies choose one of these two, die to ring or die to the caustic gas. Caustic doesn't need any weapons to be deadly in the final ring. All he needs is his ultimate and his gas traps. He can also be used really well to hold down buildings mid-game and let the third parties come and kill everyone, maybe just poking at the teams so you get a little bit of KP. So now we're moving on to S tier. First up in S tier we have Bloodhound. Now Bloodhound for the last few seasons has been an almost must-have for any high-level ranked team. He's received many buffs to his scan and ultimate as well. His scans provide vital information to the whole team and can catch enemies off guard for a flank or third party. His ultimate lasts 35 seconds and if you get a knock, it increases the time. Bloodhound is the king of assist in ranked because his scan lasts for 4 seconds and then after his scan ends, he still gets assists for 5 seconds on anyone he's scanned. This means you can just sit back and scan people and let your teammates do the work if you're in the lower ranks and you're trying to climb. Next up in S tier we have Gibby. Gibby is probably the best legend in Apex at the moment. He provides great defense and offense with his bubble and ultimate. His bubble is very versatile and can be used as cover if you have none. This is great for reviving teammates and to push teams if you have to go out into the open and there's lots of teams that know where you are. If a Gibby has a Mastiff and throws his bubble down, that will be a very hard 1v1 to win, unless you are a Gibby with a Mastiff too, in which it will be pretty even. His ultimate is great for the end ring and pushing teams out of an area. Gibby's gun shield is one of the best passives in the game. It can tank a whole Kraber shot. So last up on the list we have Horizon. As soon as Horizon came out last season, most pro teams had one of her. Her lift can get you the best high ground on the entire map in a matter of seconds. Her black hole is great for the start of a push or to draw enemies out of cover. Her lift and black hole combo together makes her so much better, being able to throw the black hole wherever she wants whilst having the time up in the air to throw a few grenades. Horizon is one of the best characters, especially if you are solo. Her abilities combined make it easy to get out of sticky situations. So that wraps up today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload. See you next time!